Good evening, everyone. Lots to discuss, so let's get started with the ES here. Now, we did manage to hold balance here, this balance high, that 41.75, and ramp back above today. Now, the Globex from last night, pretty much across all the indices, was pretty bearish, and what I was looking for today was sort of that choppy news day slide down sort of thing and correct this Friday end of month squeeze. We had Jolts, Harker, and Basebook. Tomorrow we have ADP, non-farm employment chains, unemployment claims, ISM PMI, and Harker again. So a lot of news before the bell and then after the bell as well. We slid down. Euros tried to get some bids, couldn't really get anywhere. We had a gap down. Gap was closed, but what I was looking for was a little bit of traction above that previous day's low before any sort of slide down. However, we were not able to do so. We made a high around 42.05 during some data, I think Chicago PMI, and then it further slid down to that balance area high, that 41.75 number, notably where we sold off on that Thursday session before the Friday end of month squeeze. Now, the weekly VWAP close remains naked, and the settlement lows are now above us. So that's what I'm paying attention to now. In terms of trading this, what do I want to do? What do I want to look at? Well, May point of control at 37.5. I want to see a tag of that, and I'll be willing to get long 39s, just where we held the bid from 9:30 to 11:30 or so on that May 25th session. After that, I think that NVIDIA squeeze or something like that. I can't remember what day it was. Might have been the NVIDIA squeeze day. Above there, want to be long the monthly VWAP close at 58. So this is also where we had the weekly point of control shift up to, I think at 59s before this huge squeeze upwards on Friday. Above there, I want to be long 76s if our current weekly point of control shifts down, just where we held the bid from, what is this, 10 o'clock to 12:30. So for 2.5 hours, we held bids here. I think if that weekly point of control shifts down, we hold these lows. I think we can get a good long going there. Above there, I want to be short 4,200 settlement lows after a tag of 42.03. So just kind of testing these highs here. After we test these highs, I'd be willing to take settlement lows short before a tag of that lower balance here from today. If we gap up, I want to be long 42.08s after a tag of 42, after a tag of previous day's high, so this number here, 42.05-ish, and after we get up to here. So if we gap up somewhere here, close the gap, get back up to about 42.15, then be bid at 42.08s. Above there, I want to be short 20.25 after a tag of 22.75. So essentially, I want to see these stops get ran and see us reject and get short. That's all I'm interested in on the ES. Let's move on over to the Nasdaq. Just trying to find it on my screen. Here we go. Nasdaq. Not really interested in much here. We are holding that April 2022 balance here, that 280-ish, 270-ish number. We're still holding that. Now, although the Nasdaq has made higher highs every week and higher lows every week, I do think that we've tagged last week's VWAP close every week as well. Now, just running those monthly numbers from the month that just ended here, I'm not really too interested in getting short. I don't really see the short side just yet. So I don't really want to play this thing short, but instead I'm just going to be waiting for places to get long. That's even if we move downwards. I just want to be waiting for places to get long. So what I'll be looking for is a long at 866.5 after a tag of 859s. I know that's very, very low down. Essentially, I want to get long after a tag of the weekly point of control. Same idea as getting long off that 41.39 on ES. 79s, I'd be willing to take that long as well, that auction that we built before ramping upwards. 912.75, that being the weekly VWAP close, so I want to be long there. 924 is just a number that I'm watching for now. Above there, I want to be long 14,000, 14.75. So this low of the day, that Friday squeeze low of the day, after we find a bid somewhere around that day prior, that Thursday close or point of control, and then we move upwards, that'd be bid on a retracement long. Above there, I want to be long 256 after we tag this Friday VWAP close right around here, that 245-ish, somewhere between 41 and 45. So this developing point of control we had to that VWAP close. If we hold that number, get back inside the day's range, I'd be willing to take 56s long. Above there, if we open above, I think that's value area high, 355. Yes, if we open above value area high, I'd be willing to take 336.75 long. that being settlement lows, and that would be after a tag of that last week's close to the VWAP close. So if we tag the VWAP close to last week's close and open above value area high, I'd be willing to take this number long. So open somewhere here, hold somewhere here, wait for the retracement to get long. Same thing over here. If the low day ends up being somewhere around that VWAP close and we run this daily high, so if we find a low day somewhere here, move on upwards, run this high of the day, I'd be willing to be bid at 368, that prior week's high. That's all I'm looking for. I don't really want to be long after that because the daily range would likely be something like 100 points already, and you'd probably be trading at what could possibly be a halfback, even if even if this thing ran to the high of the week. Not interested in trying to get long inside of this squeeze. I'll wait for some structure to develop for that to be a playable opportunity. Now let's go on to the Dow Jones, our final ticker on the day. The Dow, here we go. The Dow remains losing that May 4th low. We lost that. We've created a new momentum line downwards. There was a small little momentum line I had running from this low to this low onwards, and you can see we're back below there. So overall, losing momentum. I think we got down to monthly value area low today, or maybe the 87% monthly value area low today. So, not really sustaining the best areas here. Just trying to see where I am on another chart. Yeah, we held sort of, perhaps I should show it on this chart over here. We held this balance, this 808, this balance here that I was looking at between 850 and 800-ish, this little support resistance zone. That is where we end up holding. I did take a break-even trade right off 807, unfortunately. But overall, we were unable to accept over that May 4th low day, those early May lows. We were unable to accept above there numerous times, and it's nice to see that we held sort of settlement lows and that balance here, that last week's lower balance area. However, I'm not eager to be bid. This may be revised. It may very well be revised before the open. That was loud. So how am I looking to trade this? Well, I'd be willing to take 545. Wow. Okay, let's go down there. 489s. I'd be willing to take 489s long. There is a gap here, an old weekly gap. There's a gap here, so I'd be willing to take it after. Take this low of the week long after that gap is closed. You can see, I think it's somewhere around here that gap exists. So I'd be willing to take that low of the week long. Above there's a point of control, and it looked like a decent level in general that we were trading around at the time. We'll be willing to take that long as well. Above there, 662 and 695. 695, I believe, is the monthly 95% value area low, also corresponding with the weekly 95% value area low right around there. Also, where we caught some bids, so I'd be willing to take 695s long or the auction 662, and that was a weekly point of control that we were auctioning off of, so I'd be willing to take either of those long. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting. If we open above value area low, so 855, if we open above that value area low from today, I'd be willing to take 808s long after a run of the daily low. Above there, I'd be willing to take 855s value area low for a long after, that is if we open above settlement lows, above the VWAP close, that sort of area, and after we find a bid in here. So if we open somewhere around here, open somewhere around here, find a low of day somewhere around here, just taking it long, and before we move up, I do not want to see a new low of the week made, however. I want to see this low of the week sustained, and then finding a bid somewhere in here, and then taking value area low for a long, 855. Above there, I want to be long 921s if 907 is the low of the day. So if we hold the VWAP close, I'd be willing to take settlement lows long above there, and I want to be short that same 33,004, that May 4th low, kind of corresponding with the VWAP, corresponding with the 95% value area high from today's session as well. So after we tag VWAP or run some sort of stops around here, maybe run this number, this 12 number, run some sort of highs around here. I want to be short to see if we can once again defend. Above there, nothing's really changed. I want to be short 161. Now that is settlement highs. After some sort of run, perhaps the run of settlement highs, after a run of settlement highs, willing to get short 161s, that nice level from the overnight and Tuesday's high. Nothing above there really changing. Hope that makes sense. Did it in under 10 minutes. Have a great night. Trade safe. Edits this will be posted to Twitter per usual. Have a good night.